even going into your dreams, remembering your dreams, reconnecting with your dreams, that's an inherent power. Like, that's your subconscious reality is a lot of who you are, even in your conscious reality. So in many cases, it's more of who you are in that space, because you're not really subjected to the linear ideas of yourself that get caught up in the conscious reality. So even in that relationship between the conscious and the subconscious is an inherent power. Remembering your dreams is an inherent power. Losing your dreams is a way, or not remembering your dreams is a way of locking you into the conscious reality. Not only locking you into the conscious reality, but twice the double-edged sword of that is to lock you out of the subconscious learning experience or healing experience, because there's a lot of learning you can do. There's a lot of healing that you can do. There's a lot of questions that could be answered. This is why a lot of the ancestors went into the dream space, or they used psychedelics like ayahuasca as a medicine. It's a medicine because they realize that we are more than just the body. We are the soul, then the mind, then the body. So anything that is going on with the body can be traced with understanding what's going on in the mind, and even further than that, what's going on with the soul. So each one is a reflection of the other, going from the soul to the mind to the body. So all of those concepts, you can see the dreams as being like a bridge between those experiences, or the bridge between those vibrations of who and what you are. And when you go into that space, you have the ability to heal or learn from each and every version of yourself. And one thing that I was really explaining in reference to like what happens when we are locked into the heliocentric model is that it's kind of like what happens to a child when they're locked into kindergarten and first grade in reference to your dreams. Like, this is a reoccurring thing, or a known thing, that around 5, 6, 7 years old is when you start not remembering your dreams. And at that time, now this is not a universal thing, but it's a lot of people have said, even when I was a kid, I remember this. There was older kids that would tell me, because they would come and listen to us tell each other our dreams. We had a little crew in like kindergarten and first grade where we would tell each other our dreams, because we were flying and nobody in school, we thought we were going to be talking about this stuff and learning stuff like this. But when you get into school, there's no talk about dreams. There's nothing. They even tell you, don't be a dreamer. Don't daydream. Stop daydreaming. You know, that whole mentality, that's a power. And it's like breaking a stallion or something like that. It's like breaking the human stallion. You have no willpower anymore, subconscious willpower to challenge your reality or go into any kind of critical thought beyond the physical linear reality. So what heliocentrism does is it locks in your ABCs, your 1, 2, 3s, your colors, your alpha, like everything it locks it into. It says everything in the universe is already complete. It's already known. Your dreams don't matter. Your universe has been interpreted by the people who have gone through the same process that you're going through right now. You're in kindergarten, you have 12 more years to go to be smart enough in that world. So it's literally locking you in to a synthetic universe, a synthetic world that, in my eyes, as important as I see dreams, is designed really to separate you from your dreams. So dreams being another example of being able to critically think, or being able to manifest some inherent power out of seeming nothingness. So you can have an inspiration. Look how many people get inspiration for music in dreams. I think it was like Beethoven or Mozart or whoever it was. There was something about, or even I think it was something like maybe the inventor of the piano or something like that got the inspiration in like a dream. But all of this inspiration comes in dreams, and what that does to the individuals, it really disempowers them when they're locked into that lack of connection. And how I've also explained it is the patriarchal linear system is largely so-called successful because of the demonization of the feminine energy. So the non-physical feminine energy could be related to the subconscious dream realm. And if you were to go into your dreams, you would start to reconnect to a part of your observable reality that is a direct link to the feminine balance in the whole like yin yang balances of yourself, of your soul. And once you activate that, it counteracts or starts to heal the imbalances of being locked into a one-sided linear reality, and it also simultaneously empowers you by activating your feminine balances, or the positive and the negative, the light and the dark, the hot and the cold. All of these are crucial to any kind of soul experience. If you're out of balance, you're not going to be able to move the way you would like to move. You're not going to be able to go into the direction you would like to go. And if you are locked into a space that has been out of balance for so long, you won't even have a direction, because you'll just be constantly going in circles trying to clean up the mess that is living a life of being out of balance. So this is known, and this is inherent in locking somebody into the heliocentric universe, or locking a mass of people into a heliocentric universe. No different than locking somebody into the social constructs of conformity and complacency and apathy within the school system, within the university system, within the American dream 9-to-5 system. This is all about locking you away from your power to not only empower yourself, but to challenge the system of authority, to challenge the system of so-called power. And this is why I harp on so much the importance of reconnecting with your dreams, not only to balance yourself out, but to really get into that empowering space of facing your fears. This is another thing. This is the main thing that happens in children's lives, where you have kids who are constantly having nightmares, because kids have nightmares because, one, they're the most vulnerable creatures in the world, being that they have to be completely dependent on their parents. So their anchor in this reality is vulnerable. And on the same token, when you're that vulnerable and you haven't really locked into your own power, that vulnerability opens you up. So it opens you up to lower experiences. So you can be subjected to, it's kind of like being scared. Like you can be scared by anything, like a toy or something, or a movie. A movie can scare you. So in that moment, just imagine like being scared. And then when you grow up, you're not really scared anymore, because you are aware of the reality. You're aware of yourself. And if have been working on yourself for any kind of whatever, then you also have empowered yourself. So you pretty much, like, you can't be messed with. So the children haven't done this yet, and they need to know what's out there that is of the good. So you can have the good of a flying dream, all the way to the negative of the most evil whatever, chasing you somewhere, and then you have to wake up. So what that does is, like, when you have a flying dream, it like empowers you, because now you can manipulate the equations that are within that world itself, and you're flying. You're in that dream. You're doing things that can't really be done in your waking space. In your nightmare kind of reality, you're not only having the chance to face your fears, face your demons, because that's part of it, but you're also having the opportunity you're faced with the opportunity to understand what evil is, what that whole feeling is inside of you. So if you do not dream anymore, then you won't have access to, or you don't remember your dreams, because we're always dreaming. But if you don't remember your dreams, This is why you have the ability to remember your dreams, because you can take little bits and pieces back to your conscious reality and learn from them. This is what the ancestors were doing, but you can do it yourself, as long as you make a relationship with that space. This is why people write them down, but not many people like piece it together because they think it's just like, oh, this is just whatever. I've had dreams connect with dreams days and days ago. I've woken up just a couple of days ago 3 times and been back in the same dream, like in the same experience with the same individual, and just like the entire dream just rebooted 3 times. That's never happened before to me. It's happened twice, to where I'd wake up twice and I go back to the dream, but never 3 times, waking up 3 times and going back to the dream. But these are just examples of being separated from yourself. Like if you lose a part of yourself, you're losing a part of your maximum potential. You're losing a part of your ability to heal, ability to communicate, ability to perceive, to think critically, to everything. It's like a shock wave. It really is kind of like a shock wave. It affects every part of your reality. And one of the earliest videos that I ever did was explaining like the importance of dreams, the importance of having that connection, and how it relates to the conscious reality. But back to what I was saying, the evil itself, when you don't know what evil is, when you haven't experienced that fear, when you haven't experienced any kind of event or any kind of entity, speaking from like a dream kind of perspective, if you haven't experienced that in a dream enough to be able to bring it back to the conscious reality, you're not gonna know what evil actually is. You're not gonna know what those mechanisms are and how they affect you in the conscious reality. So if you shut something down, it's kind of like the same thing like your power, your ability to work your dreams to be able to fly. Like when you become completely lucid, or you can do all kinds of like superhero shit in your dreams. That's the positive side. The negative side, which is not bad, it's the negative side, is that it's a part of an experience that allows you to understand, and overstand what the counterbalance to that is, to be completely vulnerable, to be completely in a space where you are being locked down by your illusions, basically, because when you're out of yourself, you're subjected to your surroundings, whether that be an individual or whether that be a world itself. So in a world manipulation, you can be constantly being attacked or chased or in a nightmare, whatever it is. This is all challenging you to expand your self, to envelop the world itself. In a dream, your thoughts are really what kind of control the whole dream. You're subjected to your own subconscious infinity that goes all over the place. And you're trying to take a linear process into a nonlinear world. And this is a good segue into like the stability of dreams and how it relates to the instability of individuals in the collective when they're locked into a synthetic universe like the heliocentric universe, or the universe of control and authority, power over you, and just mind control, manipulation. But the conscious, when you're in a dream, if you're lucid in a dream and you have the ability to do whatever it is that you want, what makes you more lucid in that dream, from my experience, is your ability to not be thrown off kilter, to your ability to not be unstable in a non-stable world. So if you're cool, calm, collective in your real life, you can't really be swayed. You can't really be messed with. Like you're constantly in a meditative space. Not to say that you're just floaty and just ungrounded, but to say that you're actually ultimately grounded. but the world itself is not controlling you. It's not manipulating you. So you're not really subjected. Another good example is not being subjected to other people's bullshit, like somebody's emotions or whatever it is, or they try to project something onto you, and then you're just kind of like, do whatever it is you're talking about, man. Just don't put your damn hands on me, then something's gonna happen. And it's the same sort of thing. It's like, don't put your emotions on me, don't put your this on me, don't put your that on me, because then you don't, when it's like non-physical like that, it's still it's still abusive. But what happens is that the more you expand yourself, first of all, you don't get presented by a lot of people by that anymore, because they just kind of steer away from you in the first place. But if they were, it wouldn't last too long, because you're not feeding into their world. So this is what happens in the dreams. If you feed into somebody else's illusions, then you become unstable, you become out of balance, because you have now invested your focus, your conscious reality and your subconscious reality in somebody else's illusions. And this is what happens with the heliocentric universe. This is what happens with the authority, the control, the racism agenda, like people trying to, straightening their hair, hating themselves, hating their skin, hating this, hating that, everything that's natural to them, hating it because it's not a part of what is hip, what is cool, what is trendy, what is normal in this broken society. So people are breaking themselves to be normal, breaking their natural selves to be normal, because normal is the status quo and natural is taboo. So this is why it's so difficult for people to even entertain flat earth, because the status quo of the mainstream world is a broken interpretation of their universe. This is why people, they will defend the globe model to the umpteenth degree, yet they don't know the details, the specifics of the universe itself. And ultimately, they don't give a shit. They don't care. Why? Because they have given their mind power away to the authoritative universe, the out of balance, broken, patriarchal system that goes all the way back to you being broken back from kindergarten and first grade and second grade, and having all those years of indoctrination into a world that has no concern, ultimately zero concern with your soul and your mind. And then even more so, to confirmation of that, Bill Nye literally saying there is no soul. And he's the science guy. Like, he's up there. When you think of Bill Nye, you think of like Neil deGrasse Tyson. Like they're like one and the same. They represent the brain power of this synthetic universe. So if the brain power representatives tell you you don't have a soul, and they're obviously smarter than you because they're on Fox News and CNN, MSNBC, Bill Maher, late night talk shows. They have their own TV shows. They're on Netflix. They have all of this stuff. That is your critical thought. The money, the fame, the success that is married with so-called intellect and coming from the university system and speaking with people like Barack Obama and, whatever else they use to build that up. And then even speaking on information like documentaries like Planet Earth or Neil deGrasse Tyson's The Cosmos. And then like Carl Sagan is the same thing. Everything that Carl Sagan represented back when he was talking about the world and the universe was your critical thought. You didn't have to think. You don't have to do anything. Why? Because there's smart people out there that do that. Only thing you got to do is take care of your kids, provide for your kids. The universe will take care of itself. The New Age is just another version of this. It's the same thing. It's kind of like, don't worry about it. Just love and light the shit out of your reality. And whatever it is, the extraterrestrials will take care of it. The higher intelligent beings will take care of it. The universe will take care of it. It's all just what it's supposed to be. Everything is okay. Evil is not active in this world. It's just, all in your mind. You create your own universe. You create your own reality. So just be an awakened nihilist, basically. So intellectually, You're like intellectual nihilists when you have no ability to critically think. The so-called powers that be tell you what your universe is, and they will continue to tell you what your universe is for the rest of your life and for your future generations. And the way they hold that space is like with bully mentalities. It's kind of like, oh, come on. That's why Neil deGrasse Tyson went on that late night talk show and just was just like taking his shirt off. You know, he's a manly man. He's eating a sandwich. He's the smartest manly man in the universe, eating a sandwich and you know, takes his jacket off because he's gonna get busy and fight B.O.B. who's talking about the flat earth. All this shit. It's just a TV show. It's a big ass show. But since these grown ass children, basically these adults, they're still in high school. That's what high school politics are. It's prepping you to have your adolescent mind be carried on for the rest of your life. So you don't do anything because the class president is going to do so. Take care of that. The class treasurer is going to take care, whatever it is. They have that world set up for you. Same thing happens when you graduate. Whoever it is that's put out there, they do it for you. They take care of it. So you have these grown ass children who are out there looking at the big bad intellectual jock of Neil deGrasse Tyson, the smartest man in the known universe, pretty much just beat up your ability to question your reality outside of what they have deemed factual. Heliocentrism as a fact. The sun being 93 million miles away is a fact. Landing on the moon as a fact. The curve needing to only be the curve of the earth is proven when ships disappear from the bottom up over, as a fact. Never going into perspective. Gravity as a fact. Evolution theory as a fact. All of these theories that are out there are portrayed into your reality as facts. What that does is it's continually locking you into a dream, into a synthetic mind control stability program. So like I was saying in reference to the stability of holding a space in a lucid dream, your stability in the conscious realm is given to you by people who have said, we understand the universe, and this is what makes it stable. The fiat currency system, the military-industrial complex, the prison-industrial complex. We need to put fluoride in your water. We need to put chemtrails in the sky. We need to put all the garbage into the oceans. We need to suck this black blood of the earth out of the earth and then put it in your cars because you have to go to work, right? You got to get money to pay for your kids to eat food, right? So just shut your mouth. Put gas in your car, put oil in your car, get your car, be the American dream, and then go on about your business. That's it. If you do that, you're successful. If you question that reality, you're crazy. Something's wrong with you. They're basically telling you you're unstable because they have given you your stability. So in a dream space, how it relates to a dream space, how I've experienced dreams is that, or lucid dreams, more specifically, when you're lucid in a dream, the main mechanism that allows you to continue on holding on to the space of a dream is to have two focuses at once. One is the focus that you're lucid, but you're not putting anything on it. You're not putting any linear expectations on the dream. You're not questioning the dream. You're just there. You're totally as the dream. You're just there. Subconsciously, the dream is so crazy, like it's all over the place. You can't bring conscious linear concepts into that non-linear perspective. So if something like a bear starts flying through the air, you can't be like, oh my God, bears don't fly. I must be in a dream. If you do that, you make the dream unstable and then you start to wake up. This is no different than like demons or a devil or something chasing you in your dream. The difference between running from that demon and turning around and looking at that demon and either telepathically destroying that demon or literally facing that demon and ripping its throat out, like in the dream. Whatever it is that you've done in the dream to face that demon. The point is, you can either run, which is making you emotionally unstable, or you can turn around and become the creator of that reality and face that dream. In this example, face that demon. Those are two different worlds, and that boils down to power. When you don't dream, you're not going to do that. When you don't dream, you're not going to be able to understand what evil is to be able to face your demons. So if you don't know what the demons are, you sure as hell ain't going to know how to face them, because you can't pinpoint them. You just think everything is just okay, everything is awesome. Or you've gone into that nihilistic space of, well, who cares? I'm just going to live my life, and nothing really matters. So on with the show. I'm just a floating piece of star shit that was shat out of the Big Bang, and who cares what my meaning and purpose is? It doesn't matter to me when I have to get food on the table. Does your meaning and purpose matter when you have to pay the bills, your electric bill, your phone bill? No, it doesn't. So just stop asking dumb questions. Like, that's how dumbed down people are. And that's largely anchored in the reality of tracing it all the way back to conformity from kindergarten, and even further than that, your relationship to the universe itself. If you don't have any desire to understand who and what you are on a deeper level, then you're not going to have any desire to expand that potential that you are, because you have no roots, you have no foundation. You're just there, and you don't even know what there is, because it doesn't matter. So you're nothing. You're just basic nothingness, and the world will create your reality for you. And as long as they have convinced you that they are the creators of your reality, they are the authority figures of your universe, they got you. They got you by the balls, and there's no way you're out. They got you by the spiritual balls, the psychological balls, and the physical balls. I mean, everything is locked down. You can't get out of it. And that's where the Stockholm syndrome kicks in, or the abusive responses kick in, to where you start to just become comfortable with the world of nothingness. And this is what I'm saying is the state of mind, the state of soul, and the state of being that the human experience, or this experience, is going through right now. When you don't understand that there are beings that will gladly profit from evil, they don't care. Just imagine, if you can have the best of the best, like angels, and you can have the worst of the worst, like a demon or something like that. The lightest of the lightest and the darkest of the darkest. And you're built up of those two extremes, and your choice, your apparent free will, is the ability to, grow within those two extremes, to not be consumed, get into the ego of, flying and being just the best flyer in the universe. And the opposite of that is being so like in a relationship with that evil that you start to take pride. You start to fly in the evil world and not give a shit about anything or anybody else, or even your own well-being or what your meaning and purpose is. So you start to create gaps in your reality and separate yourself more and more and more and more, to where if you've exposed yourself so much, you've Swiss cheesed your reality, you've Swiss cheesed your soul, your mind, and your body, to where there's no cheese anymore. There's just holes. There's emptiness. This is like what a demon could be seen as. Or just imagine like what prostitutes have to do. It's like empty. They're empty, dead eyes, dead soul, in a sense, to where like they're just trying to like provide for their kids or something like that, and they have to sell their bodies. They have to literally sell their entire beingness for that moment, over and over and over again, like women doing this over and over again. Now multiply that by the atmosphere of an entire culture built around that. So you can go into like the Dominican Republic, you can go into parts of Thailand, parts of Amsterdam, like the whole red light district. All this stuff It's welcomed. It's fine. It's normal in society to have this red light district and not really question why the red light district, like the going into understanding why women would have to do that. If women didn't have to do that, would the red light district exist? Would a lot of this crime exist? Would a lot of, so this, you can make it as simple as the fiat currency system and so on and so forth, but it really is the entire concept of control and authority. It's not just the money, it's the power behind the money. Who created the world to make you believe that it's okay to do this, and who created the world to say that it's not okay to question this reality. It's not okay to try and do something about it. You're so powerless. You're so empty. You're so dead that this is it. You have kids going through the school system in these communities or these cities or entire nations that prostitution is like the biggest money maker for them. Like, they don't have any jobs. There's no jobs there. Their jobs are tourism, where people from all over the world go to these locations specifically for the prostitution. They go there, and that's where the money is. So where the money is, people are going to go there. Well, women are going to go there, and then that's their jobs. So this is what's happening to the human experience overall. We've been prostituted, pimped out by the system itself, and we've been mind controlled like a pimp would mind control a hoe. It's like, oh yeah, I got you, baby. Like I provide you with the food, the dress, the clothes, like the, your home, your protection. I'm your security. I'm everything that you need. I keep you looking good. I keep you this. I keep you that. And nobody's going to take care of you the way I take care of you. This is the psychological mechanism that is the Western civilization. It's like, baby, I got you. There's no other way to be. Capitalism, democracy, this is the only way. The military industrial complex, the prison industrial complex, we protect you, baby. War is peace. This is it. There's nothing higher than this. In fact, we got God on our backs, baby. God, God bless America. We take care of you. We are the ones who, took out Saddam and underneath the false pretenses of weapons of mass destruction. We chased down the people who did 9/11. We buried Osama bin Laden in the ocean. We got our revenge. And all these are like false flags. They're illusions. They're telling you, they're building themselves up. Like, the bigger the hat there is, like in the movie that I'm Gonna Get You Sucker, there's like, you can't come in here unless you got a big hat. And so all the people are looking around like, what the hell? We don't have any big hats. We got to get some big hats to go in there and look a certain way and be a part of the crew. So women, or the entire population, looking at the big hat of the United States like, oh man, they really got it together. Look how big their hats are. They're smooth. They're this, they're that. It's about power. It's about locking you into a powerless perspective. It's a low budget version of what a demon would do in a nightmare. It forces you to run. It forces you to become vulnerable, emotionally unstable, and unstable in every way. And then they own you. So in that moment, this is what dreams are doing. It's like going into a dream and having the ability to take that information back to your waking space is like going to the gym. If you're not going to the gym, your subconscious reality, your balances in reality will be severely out of shape. You will be weak-minded, weak-spirited, just like you would be weak physically. You need to constantly expand these muscles, these muscles, because these muscles are not. This is why there's so much focus on the muscles of the physical reality and like the over-sexualization of the body itself. It's kind of like, if you focus so much on your body, who gives a shit about your mind? You got a nice ass and some nice titties and shit, man. I'm gonna marry you. Like I'm gonna get you the nicest ring in the world. Look at this is my fiance. Like, oh my goodness, I got my own Beyonce here. Like she shaking her ass like this is, that's that whole mentality. But what happens there is, and people who have been married and divorced because they married because they were following their dick brains or their vagina brains or whatever it was, they didn't really, or even in relationships, they get into a relationship because this person is physically attractive, and then they realize the emptiness in the relationship, which is just another opportunity to realize the emptiness that you yourself have, and locking yourself into that kind of relationship, having the ability to realize the emptiness that is there and what we're filling it with. So when you have people who are Swiss cheese to shit and they don't have any kind of stability to or depth to their reality, then the fillers become the reality. So this is kind of like the extreme version of prostitution being the filler. Literally, they're filling their bodies with other people's emptiness to fill their babies with food because the society is built this way. So that's kind of like one of the best examples of a sick society. And then you have, of course, the child trafficking, the women trafficking that's going on within the government itself. This is what all this Pizzagate shit is. And this is why they have you focusing on individuals like this Weinstein guy or whoever it is, because if they have a villain out there, one person that they can throw underneath the bus, then secretly they'll take care of that dude. They won't destroy him like they would Bill Cosby, or they have been, like constantly. Only on allegations. The Weinstein guy is already confirmed. He's already said, yes, that's how he is a piece of shit. And he said, oh, I was only a piece of shit because society itself welcomed piece of shit behavior like that. So yeah, I did it because that's what society was. But with Bill Cosby, he's only had allegations of this shit, and it's fact. You are a piece of shit. Now, I'm not saying, to defend Bill Cosby or anything. I'm just saying, like, that's another example of how different people are treated differently in that whole world, and just another example of the emptiness that's there. So this emptiness that is acted out with, women who have to prostitute their bodies to provide food and shelter for their children is the same emptiness that people have when they have no meaning and purpose, when they subconsciously and consciously believe that they came from the Big Bang. They're nothing but an animalistic evolutionary happenstance from monkeys. They're just stardust. There's nothing there. There's no essence. You're dead, just like the dead eyes of a prostitute. You've been pimped. It's like pimp my car, or whatever that show is. It's like pimp my reality. Your reality has been pimped, and the only way that you're gonna get out of that space to stop prostituting yourself to somebody else's illusions is if you realize the stability that you are from the inside out. This is why something like Flat Earth is so dangerous, because it gives people, without trying, it gives people a connection with some kind of meaning and purpose. You don't need a book. You don't need whatever kind of proof here and there. You understand that in one way, things are not this way. In another way, since things are not like this, that means I am not like that. So what am I like? And then people start to piece together those gaps in their reality, that emptiness that has been in their lives there for their entire life. They start to fill themselves up with some kind of meaning and purpose. Their relationships become more deeper. They become, and before it becomes easier, before this healing and all this stuff happens, it gets harder. It's at first it's harder because you're cleaning out all the shit. You're getting rid of all of that garbage that you filled in the holes of your Swiss cheese soul, mind, and physical body. So it's going to be painful. It's kind of like working out those muscles after they've been, dormant for so long. You're going to be sore. And then eventually you're going to get through that soreness and you're going to start to be able to condition your existence because you're now adding muscle to your soul. You're adding muscle to your intellectual body and in your physical body too. You start to become healthy. You eat healthier. You mean something now. Whereas before you were just here. Wherever here is, it doesn't matter. It's a big ball hurling through space, spinning 1,000 miles an hour, hopefully not getting hit by a damn asteroid, so we don't have to send Bruce Willis and Ben Affleck into a spaceship to go destroy it with a drill and a bomb. It's like, oh, thank God. That's your filler. Thank God for Barack Obama. Thank God for God. I mean, it's easy. It's like easy that the same thing that happens when people think they're going to heaven just because they go to church every Sunday, but they do the most fucked up shit every day, other than Sunday, and then they repent for their sins or whatever on Sunday, and everything's gonna be okay. Keep telling yourself that when you're sitting in wherever it is after you die, and then they ask you, so what's going on? What happened? What did you experience? What did you learn? It's like, oh, well, I went to church every day. I was like, what does that mean to you? What is that? What is that? Yeah, okay, let's dedicate. Like, what is that? What your definition, not what somebody else told you to do. Like if they were to get up there and say, this is a hologram, or this is here's Jesus right here, and they're like, oh, he's real. Just go bow down to your God. And that's a test. It's like, okay, what if that's just a hologram that they've put up there? It's a test to your own power. Like, where's the relationship between you and not the middleman? When are you going to be able to challenge yourself to go straight to the source? Why do you need something in between? So it's just another example of emptiness being filled. So a lot of people fill their lives the same way people fill their lives with fast food or food in general, candy, sex, drugs, whatever it is. You're filling your reality. People do it the same thing with church. They do it with Bible verses. They do it with priding themselves in being the most Jesus in the universe. They're just the most churchy or religious people you could ever imagine. And a lot of people are doing that because they're running away from something. They have nothing else. Stuff like religion is just, you can see it as has another effect, just like addiction. It's just, I would say loosely, it's healthier. It's healthier to do that. But when you really trace it back, there's an argument to say that ultimately it's not really, it's actually worse, because you're blocking yourself from going beyond the structure that somebody else has or something else has told you to do. Your relationship should be like this, just like your dreams. The mainstream reality doesn't at all consider dreams an important part of your reality. And then you go into like the ancestors. Many of the ancestors, it's the dream realm is huge. You don't see something off about that? Like, it boils down to power and control. In your dream space, you're being challenged to inhabit your own power, or give your power away to the illusion of the world itself, or the demon in that nightmare, or whatever it is. Same thing's happening here. The easy route is to run away and wake up. The easy route is to run away and pop into another dream. But you're not growing. You're flatlining, literally. You're basing out your reality, and you're running away from your responsibility to expand. And that's one way that we learn. It's not the only way that we learn, but it's one way. Like people who are hard-headed, they just got to learn shit the hard way. That's one way to learn. Another way to learn for certain people, or some people, like, this is why kids are faced with nightmares all the time, because they're so open, they're automatically Swiss cheese, because they haven't filled their realities with anything yet. They just care about toys and, flying dreams, and playing tag and hide and seek, and the love of their mother and father, the love for their brothers and sisters and stuff like that. They're not concerned with the stuff of this reality. So they know that they're getting into that world because it surrounds them. So the world that's surrounding them, they know they're going to that space. They know they're not there yet. That's what makes them vulnerable. That's what makes them kind of open subconsciously. Because consciously, kids are the most focused. You can see when they're drawing, it might be the shittiest drawing in the world, but they are focused. They have that a lot of people, when they grow up, they don't have that anymore. So this is the extremes that happens, and you grow into a world that accepts the emptiness as normal. At the expense of that which is natural, because that which is natural is taboo. Literally, they're destroying the rainforests, killing the indigenous people who had relationships with nature. This is what the Western civilization is. Racism and white supremacy was just like a tactic used to expand that power. It's by no means the only part of that power grid. It's not boiled down to only white people and all this other thing. These are just parts of the system. People have a lot of problems with that when I address stuff like white supremacy and all this other stuff. It's not to say that's the only thing that exists. Say it's a big part of it. It's a big part of the mind control program. If you can confirm for yourself, and you can confirm this by looking at the doll test, or the doll experiment that I've explained in previous videos. If you know for a fact that kids are hating themselves, hating their bodies, their natural body, not their personality, they hate their hair, they think they're dirty because their skin. Where do you think that came from? Where did that mentality come from? If you know that that's a reality, then you have to know that affects not only children, that affects the entire world. It affects everybody, even people who don't have to deal with that. They create some kind of world on the other side of that. So this is another version of like the emptiness that happens when you don't dream, the emptiness that happens when you're constantly running away from your responsibilities, your power missions. So you're faced with a mission. Are you going to run from it, or are you going to do something with it? If you run from it, you're not going to grow. You're not going to go backwards, but you're not going to go forward. If you face it, you'll at least open the door to move forward. And you have now become something more. You have filled that space with more of yourself that you never had access to because you constantly ran away from it. So this is the mechanism that happens when people run away from even questioning the reality of the universe, is because it's very vulnerable. It's like a child that doesn't want to be, cast out of the cool crowd or something like that. Like, oh, well, everybody thinks like this, so I'm not even going to entertain that. I don't have the time. Smart people have already done this. So just stop trying to think for yourself and do this. Just be cool like us. Be dead like us. Be zombies like us. Be conformists like us. Be enslaved like us. Be empty like us. It's fun to be empty, because then you can fill your life full of shit. And then you can wear it like a damn NASCAR uniform. That's a good example of what that emptiness looks like. A NASCAR driver's outfit. It's just filling the gaps with McDonald's, Coors Light, Tide, whatever the hell it is that they put on there, Bud Light. So I think that's pretty much it. I said that already, but before I close it out, another example of a filler is like these empty ass YouTube videos. They're just based on nothing. It's just dead shit, dead people, talking about nothing. It's like, oh, well, just laugh, just laugh. It's fine. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with laughing and comedy and all this other stuff, but more of a focus to share with people, like, where's philosophy at in mainstream? Where are the thinkers at? Where are, even when people start talking about this kind of stuff, it's like, oh, don't get too deep. Like when you see some of these actors go on these late night talk shows and then they start talking about how Hollywood is just garbage, it's just shit. People shouldn't be like putting those individuals on pedestals, and you should at least focus on yourself and realize like what's going on here from your own perspective, and like, oh, take it easy, come on, we need Hollywood and all this other stuff. Like it's ridiculous. You're not allowed to think outside of the drive-through at McDonald's. You can't even speak outside of the penny saver that comes with your Happy Meal. Like if you talk about something that's not in the newspaper, then you're not a part of the cool crowd. That goes down to power. Just like taking your dreams away is taking your focus away. When you're awake, you're subjected to the laws of this universe. I think this is what I was missing. The laws, the various laws in various places or worlds. So you have the laws of the physical reality where your soul is in this body, apparently. You have perspective laws. You have the differences between water, a liquid, a gas, a plasma, something dense, like different densities, different pressures. So you have all of these things that build up so-called laws within this universe or this world. The same thing happens in like dream worlds. So you have more abilities when you're not subjected to particular laws. When you bring the laws from the conscious world into the subconscious world, that's where you make the subconscious world unstable, and you will wake up. You will break your lucidity. You will break your ability to work within that world because you're trying to conform the world rather than having a balance of what the world is presented to you as. So since you're the creator of that experience with your observation, your perspective, you ultimately have the deciding factor. So this is like going back to the nightmares. You run away, you wake up in a nightmare, you've decided to do that. When you start to try to make sense out of the dream world from a conscious perspective, you are bringing linear concepts into a non-linear reality, and you will make it unstable and break out of that. So this is the dance between having the ability to go further in the dreams or not. If you put too much of your idea of yourself on the experience itself, you will max out on your own limitations. If you become aware of the dream and engage, or the experience itself, and engage, in a sense, being detached from that world, but still engaged and focused and anchored in that world, but a certain layer of detachment there at the same time, that's when you can work with the dream and over time start to build up your muscles in that world. So this is exactly what I forgot to mention. The time and distance. So the more time that you spend in a dream, specifically in a lucid dream, the more of an ability you have to change the dream or kind of work the world itself. So for example, like having the ability to fly, or like working your way up to flying, centering your focus and then being able to fly, and then just like flying so much that you literally have to wake up because you're going too fast or you're gone, whatever it is. But it's a gradual process. What I've experienced over so many different dreams is that what allows me to become more lucid in a dream and to have more abilities in a dream is to have an awareness. So the more aware you are and the more kind of lax and chill you are in your waking space, the more relaxed and chill and aware you will be in your dream space. So this is the balance. This is the relationship between the dream world and the conscious world. And if you're looking for more meaning and purpose, you can see that you only need really one thing to give you a deeper layer of meaning and purpose. That could be one of them. It's one of mine. It's like, well, when people ask, like, why are we here? Why is the world the way it is? It's so garbage. It's so like destructive and this and that. Well, one thing is that this is a vibratory learning experience that, in relationship with dreams, if you become aware in these extremes, if you become balanced in this extreme kind of reality, it will affect your dreams, who you are and how you are in your dreams. That is a meaning and a purpose for this physical reality. It's just one. I mean, there's a whole bunch more, but it's one that's very real that I've noticed. And the more time you can hold that pretty much unstable subconscious dream space, the more of a potential you will have to go deeper into that dream. You can have more abilities in that dream. You're becoming more familiar with your surroundings. You can feel yourself more. You're piecing more of yourself together. You're having more focus. But that's the thing. The more focus you have, the more potential it has to become unstable. So if you are okay in not okay situations in your waking state, you will be okay in not okay situations in your dream space. That is your ability to go further and further into dreams and learn more, communicate more. I've actually, for people who haven't seen our other dream videos, the most crazy shit I've ever done was, well, not really. Yeah. I mean, there's probably more, but this is one of the craziest things in the dream space. Was I was actually in a dream explaining what dreams are and how to work dreams to people, to people in the dreams. I was so lucid in that space. I was telling them, look, this is what's happening. This is how you can go from here to here. This is what you need to do. And this is what this whole dream is. Look at this. Look at that individual is this thing, and so on and so forth. Explaining the dream world to people in the dream. And ultimately, I'm explaining it to myself at the same time, but I just thought that was a trip. And in order to get to that space, like I said, I keep trying to get around to it. And this is just another way to become more lucid in the dreams is if you're in a dream and you start walking somewhere or you start running, you're crossing a distance, you're crossing time, and you're aware of your surroundings. You become more aware of your body. So if you're running, you're aware that your muscles aren't getting tired. You're aware that you're not really breathing hard. So you become more aware that this is a dream. And then you become more aware of like things that are moving around you as you are crossing distance over a certain amount of time. They don't move or look the same way as they would in a waking state. So that's you becoming more familiar with the dream. The more familiar you are with the dream, the more you'll be able to access parts of the dream. And distance and time helps this. So the best way to hold on to that space is to not really hold on to many things in the waking state, like to be as cool and mellow as possible, be on an even keel so that you're not easily off-put, you're not easily taken out of your power. Because if you're steady in who and what you are, then you'll have the ability to not only change your world, but change a lot of the worlds that are in and around your life. Because it really is like everybody's teaching each other, everybody's healing each other. But when you have a whole bunch of broken people around just filling their bodies with prescription drugs and all kinds of other gap fillers, then you're creating a slave system, a slave world, and it's zombie land. the more you are aware, the more you'll be able to stabilize yourself in a non-stable reality. And this is how this goes hand in hand with the instability of a heliocentric universe. You're afraid of aliens. You're afraid of asteroids. You're afraid of everything. Everything is meant to destroy you. And everything's smarter than you. Like the whole alien agenda, the whole evolution agenda, and the Big Bang theory. You're basically the dumbest piece of shit in the universe if aliens create this technology. This is the premise to Ancient Aliens. They destroy your ancestral relationship with intellect, with the soul, with the spirit, with technology, all the ancient technology. It's destroyed because they say maybe ancient astronaut theorists profess that aliens came and did everything. They did it back then and they're doing it now. So you're just an empty piece of shit, and aliens will forever be smarter than you, and they might come and attack us. And in fact, there's bad aliens, and they're the ones in charge right now. So it's just another version of the Big Bang. It's just another version of emptiness. And another part of that is, before I keep thinking of things to add to the dream space as far as power and control and the universe itself. So the aliens being a part of that stuff, the extraterrestrial mentality, people priding themselves. Oh, my third eye opened, and I'm being connected with extraterrestrials and all this shit now. And it's just like, okay, there's another mission. But what I like to do is I boil it down to energy from an observational perspective of like when somebody asks me about reptilians. So reptilians are just like, how I see it, an example of what that is. You're really talking about, when people ask about the reptilians, they're really asking about like evil. When I see it, when I hear that, and the various manifestations of evil in reference to like the Illuminati and the Cabal and all this other shit. And quite possibly there could have been beings who constantly just manifested in the most evil ways, and maybe in a reptilian form, maybe in some kind of timeline in a giant form like the Nephilim and so on and so forth. In any kind of way, this is what has manifested into this reality. And it's another possibility for you to see yourself and where you fit. So you have like people who talk about the reptilians, they talk about the archons, they talk about all this other stuff. You're really talking about intelligence, you're talking about evil, light and dark. You're still talking about stuff within this universe. So how I explain it when somebody asks me about the reptilians, I'll say my response to that is, in a dream space, an evil entity or being can present itself to you in any kind of form. It can present itself to you in a human suit, an alien suit, a gray suit, a reptilian suit, in anything. It can present itself to you in the form of a family member. It can, whatever it is, it can do whatever it is, because it's not limited to the form that it takes. So when somebody's asking me about reptilians, I'm asking them in that same moment, what are you really asking me? What are we really talking about? And how I see it, we're talking about evil, being able to face your evil or run away from it. The forms that it takes is not necessary, but in all reality, when you're in a dream space, does the form a demon take really matter to you when you know with every essence, without language? Sometimes you're spoken to in dreams. You can be faced with a demon or something like that, and it speaks telepathically. I've had this before where an evil sort of entity presented itself to me in a tall, kind of gray or white alien form, like 12 or between 12 and 14 feet tall. and just was trying to inflict fear into my beingness telepathically. And then I started to become more lucid in the dream and was becoming aware of, oh, it's not even saying anything, but it is trying to make me feel a certain way through my emotional body, which is the same way that politics and the system itself controls you, or controls the experiencers with triggering the emotional body, triggering the fear. We have to go to war. We have to fight the war on terrorism. We have to expand capitalism and democracy and so on and so forth. Triggering you and manipulating your emotional body to give your power away. So when people ask me in about reptilians and stuff like that, and I always go into like, what are you really talking about? Like, how then this is another way that dreams can help empower yourself. They empower your perspectives, because when you have experiences in dreams, you're still yourself, in a sense that when you wake up, you might even take on a different body in a dream, but you yourself, the experiencer, will forever be the experiencer, no matter what experience you're in. So this is that's another example of like the illusion of death and the illusion of life, really. Like, that whole thing is, you will forever be experiencing something. If you have any kind of an understanding and overstanding of having a meaning and a purpose from a creative source, then you know you're not just going to be thrown away. It's not going to just be nothing. It's just like, oh, whatever. Spent so much time on complexifying the shit out of this being. It just doesn't matter. You're empty as nothing. You have no soul. Just go away. Emptiness forever. No, you're going to have an experience, just like in dreams. This is another thing that dreams do to empower people, is to help people realize the expansiveness, the unlimited potential of the soul essence that you are, which allows you to not have any fear of death or fear of anything, really, because the experience is forever going on. And when people are afraid of death, you're afraid of life. You're living your life in fear, so you're not really alive. But when you're in a dream space, you have the ability to there's a lot of times in dreams that you actually die. Like I said in earlier in this video, I've had dreams where I'm just like, when I was a kid, the reoccurring dream is that I was just falling off a building all the time. And in those elevator dreams, going up the elevator to the top of the building and then falling off of the building. Like, I've had these dreams constantly. The reoccurring part of that dream now is just like the elevator scene and choosing between different floors. I've had that before too. And you know what's on each floor. You don't know exactly what's on the floor, but you feel like a sense of responsibility. This is, on this level, or this floor, the 6th floor or the 9th floor, you have this responsibility. And on the 6th floor, you have this responsibility. Before you can maximize this floor, you have to complete the work that needs to be done on this floor. That's what I mean by responsibility. So if you choose to go on to those other ones without having done the other work, it's going to make that other world more vulnerable and less. It'll make it more unstable because you haven't equipped yourself with the work that should have been done from the other floors or the other worlds. That's how I interpret. For people who also have reoccurring dreams about the elevator and going through different dimensions or whatever you want to word it, I just boil it down to experiences, because I know this is a reoccurring theme for a lot of people. It's not just me. I've heard this a lot. The dreams, the elevator, the hotel, that whole meaning. Even with Prince's song, Don't Let the Elevator Bring Us Down. Oh, no, let's go crazy, like that whole song. And then you take it a step even further, like into a sense of him dying in the elevator. And, you can go into the conspiracies about that wherever you like. But when you see all this stuff and it being anchored in some kind of reality, you really start to ask some questions about some things. You're like, oh shit, this is making a lot of sense that I never really thought about before. And all of this, like pretty much all the information that I shared in this video, comes from having this relationship with my dreams as a child and as an adult. I stopped dreaming or remembering my dreams for a while, like when I was in the Army. I had like spurts here and there, but I wasn't like a dreamer like I am today or like I was when I was a kid. Having been sharing this information with people, I've realized that it's a very big part of our reality, and it's very beneficial for us to re-engage with that space and start to see more of ourselves, start to challenge ourselves with more experiences. So if you are faced with challenges in your waking space and you learn from it, you grow, you become a better person. Look at the opportunity that you have to expand and become a better person or a more vibrant person energetically and actually personally if you were to re-engage with your dreams. Now realize how that being taboo or something like smirked at in the mainstream reality, see how that affects people. It's huge, and it relates directly to being locked into a synthetic universe like heliocentrism.